Welcome to Bear Download at ChicagoTribune.com. I'm Rich Campbell along with Dan Wiederer as we're... 3, 2... Welcome to Bear Download at ChicagoTribune.com. I'm Rich Campbell along with Dan Wiederer. We're here at Hallis Hall as the Bears got back to practice on Monday, getting ready for Thursday's exhibition finale against the Browns. We're almost through the exhibition season, thank goodness. But some important matters to attend to, particularly as it relates to the defense, and giving up 31 points to the Seahawks in the first half on Friday night out in Seattle. Obviously, a lot to comb through in that film review. We heard from defensive coordinator Mel Tucker today.
Yeah, it was an eye-opening disappointment out there in Seattle to give up 31 points on 5 drives in the first half, to not be able to ever get off the field on third down, to have so many things go wrong. And I think they went back through the film and they tried to contextualize it properly, to understand that there are deficiencies to work on, but to not overreact. And I think the number one thing that you saw with a mobile quarterback like Russell Wilson was, hey, we've got to do a better job containing. And this is going to be an issue because, as we've talked about, the first 5 weeks of the season, they're going to be facing mobile quarterbacks who can stress you out if you don't have that contained in the pocket. There's going to be 5 straight weeks of that. And they didn't do a good job with Wilson. So now comes the matter of, can you polish that up? They continue to insist, as all teams do, that all these errors are correctable. That's what you always hear after a major breakdown like this. Now we have to see if they actually are, and whether they can stay in those rush lanes and be in the right place at the right time.
Right, and Mark Trestman emphasized the contained problem, but he also wanted to accentuate some positives in his press conference this afternoon. Talked a lot about the pass rush and how the energy, the effort was there. They were a bit disruptive. They just couldn't contain Russell Wilson once they started to make things break down in the pocket.
And it's a slippery discussion. And you talk to Willie Young, this is a guy who played 2 years in college with Russell Wilson, goes look back a long way to understand how slippery he can be on the move. And he just said there's some plays you watch on film and you say, okay, I was in the wrong place there. I needed to be a little bit better with the angles I was taking on my rush. But there's other plays you see you do everything right, and Russell Wilson backpedals, he gets away from traffic, he makes a play happen, he runs up right to the line of scrimmage, dumps the ball off right before he hits the line of scrimmage. Right. A lot of stress it puts on a defense. The thing is, this is not the only quarterback they'll face that's like that, so you got to get it corrected somehow.
Right, you can't just run up the white flag and say, oh, Russell Wilson's better than us this day. I mean, they're keeping score eventually, and it's going to count, and so they've got to figure this out, and the most disconcerting element of that game, I think, is that this defense continues to look more like the one from last year, the defense they're trying to separate themselves from.
One of the problems that I saw in Seattle was it looked a lot like that Philly game from a year ago, that once it started to unravel, they had no answers, and that's a troubling thing for a defense like this. They got to get back on the right track. They're not going to have a chance with their first unit defense to do so until the season opener against Buffalo. A lot of those guys will sit Thursday night in Cleveland, but obviously they understand now that they've seen some of their errors, and obviously it heightens the urgency around here.
And of course, there are going to be some elements that we haven't seen in the exhibition season that the Bears will be working on, blitz packages and things like that.
And they'll hopefully get guys like Jared Allen, Kyle Fuller back on the field, and maybe see some growth from the younger guys as well.
Right, yeah, Kyle Fuller did get back on the practice field today from that ankle. That's a good sign for the Bears. All right, we'll be here on Tuesday as well as the Bears get ready for the Browns later this week. For Dan Wiederer, I'm Rich Campbell, and that'll do it for Bear Download.